Okay guys, force test number one. Take number 2. Let's go. Welcome to Red's FX Force Month, the same show that always does and never tries. This is the final episode of this Force Month trilogy, well, at least for this year, and I thought we'd tackle force pushing effects. Now before we start, let me just take a look at all the requests now. And before we start, guys, there is something I want to point out. If you watch the 7 live action Star Wars films that we have at this moment of me recording this video, there isn't really any effect present when they're doing a force push. Now, when it comes to this, big budget studios and big budget movies like the Star Wars films can get away with doing this because they're big budget and they're official films, and it's viewed upon as okay and people just accept it. But when it comes to us, indie filmmakers on a low budget scale, it's viewed upon as cheap or easy to do and just comes across as fake, which doesn't really make sense, but that's how people view it. So I definitely understand the need to have a visual effect present or something that you can actually see when a force push is done, not just the sound, but actually something that you can see. Now in my tutorial there are 2 different ways. One is a very subtle way of doing it, which I prefer, compared to the other way, which is the most popular way on YouTube, which is to chuck a shockwave element in front of your hand. I don't understand why people do that. I don't know where they got that idea from. Maybe it's in some of the games or something. I don't prefer it, but when you guys said visible force push, that's what came to mind, and obviously I'm assuming that's what you wanted, so there you have it. But besides that, let's talk about the shockwave element quickly. There are millions of different shockwaves. I mean, Hitfilm even has their own shockwave effect. I don't like it that much, but there are lots of stock footage out there. Video Copilot has a pack, I think Rampant Design has a pack. Almost every stock footage site has some sort of shockwaves. You can find dozens of free things. So when scouring the internet to find some free shockwaves, I found this place called productioncrate.com. And they basically have like hundreds of different elements, whether it's explosions or animated texts or different like cartoon bubbles and shockwaves, sound effects, music, everything. They have so many cool things on their website. And trust me guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, this message is not sponsored. They haven't paid me, they haven't talked to me, I don't know them or anything. I just found their website and these people are amazing. Now you can get a paid account or a free account, so I obviously opted for the free account, and with that free account you can download up to 5 free downloads per day of their library, obviously from the free selection, not the pro. So I definitely suggest checking them out, and I'll leave the link to their website down below in the description, as well as the link to the shockwave element that I downloaded. So I hope you guys enjoy that little thing. I felt like I needed to tell you about that really cool resource for us indie people and our low budget communities. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I certainly did, but I will see you in the tutorial now. So we have Hitfilm opened up, my mind at ease, my training under my belt, as well as the dark side calling my name. To be honest, what else do you really need? Well, here's my footage all loaded up into a comp and ready. So let's start by finding the point at which I start my force push move. Right over here. Now let's click the plus icon to create a grade layer. We can then trim that to start about 2 frames before our move. Okay, hit the effects panel, distort, and drop bulge onto your grade layer. Now let's expand those controls and tweak it a bit. I'll just drop the bulge amount down a bit so that it's a bit more subtle. Now move the center of the effect over your hand and turn on keyframing for it. Move forward about 5 frames and move that center just before the frame line. The reason for this is because if you move it off screen, it'll distort the edge of the video and look all weird. Okay, now head back to the start of your grade layer, so 2 frames before your move, then turn on keyframing for the grade layer's opacity and set it to 0. Now move forward to 2 frames before your bulge effect is in its final position and hit this icon to create another keyframe. Then move forward another 2 frames and set it down to 0. Okay, now create another grade layer and trim it to last the same amount as our previous one. This time in the effects panel, drop waves onto your grade layer. You can then tweak the settings to get a look you like, because it's up to you how much distortion you actually want. Okay, let's select the circle or oval mask tool and draw a mask around our hand area. Then feather to around 50 pixels. Turn on keyframing for the mask's position, move forward 5 frames, then drag it to stop at the same place your bulge effect did. Okay, head back to the start of your grade layer and turn on keyframing for its opacity. Set it to 0, and from here guys, just repeat the same steps as the last grade layer's opacity keyframing. You could leave it at this point and be done with it. As I said before, the movies don't really show any effect for a force push, and the things we did just provided a subtle and elegant alternative to nothing. But again, the majority of people love using shockwaves, for whatever reason, so we'll do it too. Let's drag the shockwave element into our timeline at the point where we want to make our move. Now this is a bit slow for my liking, so I'll just right click, speed and duration and move it up to about 400%. Now let's turn it into a 3D layer so we can position it properly. I'll expand the controls and play with the rotation till I have it sitting and looking right. We want it to look as if it's flat against our hand. I'll also bump up the scale a bit. And that's it. I do want to add a curves effect to the shockwave though and boost it up just a bit, just so it pops more, as well as set the opacity to 50%. If you want to colorize it, just drop on the hue colorize effect and play with the hue and saturation over there. Follow those steps, focus your mind, be one with the force,
experience the full power of the dark side,
and your effect should look something like this. And there you have it, Force Month, complete for 2016, a nice trilogy of 3 Force Month tutorials. Hope you guys enjoyed it, I certainly did. You can hit me up on my Instagram and my Twitter, reverse those right over there. And I've got quite a few questions from people asking when's the next video coming out, what's the schedule like. And if you guys follow me on those platforms, I do announce a lot of release dates, or if I'm having trouble producing an episode or getting it out there, upload dates, all sorts of things, all on those platforms. If you're not following me on those, definitely follow me on those, because then you'll be up to date with all the news surrounding me, my channel, and what's coming up in the future. But that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned later this week for the season finale of Red Effect Season 1. Looking really forward to that, and I will see you in the next episode.